Tonight, our show, Almanac at the Capitol, begins. Behind here is the House chamber. It is empty right now. Lawmakers did gavel in yesterday for the 2026 legislative session. We'll be talking about that in depth tonight on Almanac at the Capitol. For folks who are here in the Twin Cities, the show broadcasts live at 7 p.m. on the Minnesota channel and then on 10 p.m. on TPT. You can also find it on our website, tpt.org, and we will post it on social media. We want to give you a little sense of where we broadcast. This is the only show that comes to you live from the heart of the action. This is the House Gallery. This is where the media lines up. First day, this place was absolutely packed. You can see the crew is setting up right now. And for those of you outside of Minnesota, say hi, crew.
Hey, everybody.
They are peeking outside right now. I don't know if you can tell. It is a blizzard out there. Blizzard.
Look at the blizzard.
Can we see the blizzard? It's kind of unreal.
Snowmageddon.
Right? Snowmageddon. It was 60 degrees, almost 60 degrees over the weekend. And now there's a blizzard. And the really good news about this live show is all of our guests are coming from inside the house, inside this building tonight. We do have kind of an all-star lineup. If we had to have our dream set of guests, this is who it would be. I'll give you a little peek. Here is the script for the show tonight. We are opening the show. Actually, the very first voice you will hear at the top of the show is Senator John Hoffman, who survived an assassin this year. 9 times he was shot at his home. And the very first sound you'll hear at the beginning of the show tonight is he says, "It feels really good to be back here." And he returned to the Senate chamber, and really dramatic video of him walking up the steps to the Senate chamber. And he walked up with the state troopers. And those are the troopers who guarded him in the ICU as he was recovering and as he was learning how to walk again. And those are the very same people who walked up those Senate steps with him. And he gave some real emotional remarks on the Senate floor. And you'll be able to hear more of that tonight on the program. But our show, again, here, the House Gallery, where we broadcast live from. And tonight, it's House leaders. We will have House Speaker Lisa Dameth on with the new House DFL leader, Zach Stevenson. Representative Stevenson was really mentored by Melissa Hortman, who we lost this summer, of course, was assassinated. And beginning of session was a memorial to her, and her memorial remains here. It's down on the House floor. Her photo is on the House floor. There are red roses. And the opening day of session, every single member, the House and Senate, came here and gathered on the floor, and they all put roses on her desk. And there were speeches. The governor assembled. It very much looked like a state of the state where the Senate joined the House here and gave remarks remembering the remarkable career, described as the most impactful speaker in Minnesota history. She was memorialized and remembered on the first day. It was the first day unlike anything I've ever seen. I've been around here for half a century, my whole life. My father was a political reporter before me. I've been here with public television for several decades, and nothing like this somber first day. That was a memorial to a really beloved member, bipartisan respect and bipartisan remarks. And I think that's what we'll ask leaders about, is whether that tone can remain after so much strife and so much partisanship, is whether that bipartisan tone set on the first day can and will continue through session. And the state that's been through so much. Senator Erin Murphy, the leader of Democrats in the Senate, also spoke about her dear friend Melissa Hortman and how much the state has been through. And she talked about it being the longest summer after the shooting of 2 state lawmakers, and then the school shooting at Annunciation. And then she called it the longest winter, and what the state has gone through with the federal forces here and the immigration action. And there'll be a lot of legislation and discussion on that, and we will ask leaders about that. Again, we have the 2 leading members of the House here tonight, House Speaker Lisa Dameth and Democrat Zach Stevenson. So the top leaders of the House here live on Almanac at the Capitol tonight. Again, that's 7 p.m. if you're in the Twin Cities metro area, or at tpt.org. And then again, 10 p.m. on TPT. And you can also check that out on the website and social media. And then as well, a new series we'll be offering this year on Almanac at the Capitol, a large number of retirements. And I think a lot of those retirements are precipitated by the violence and the extremes and the toxicity we're seeing in politics. So each week on Almanac at the Capitol, we are going to be talking to and honoring and hearing from the great number, dozens of retiring lawmakers. And we're starting with an icon tonight. I don't know if anybody can guess it. If anybody's in the chat, anybody have a guess and want to come in? This lawmaker has served in the House and the Senate. Here's a hint. She has served in the Minnesota legislature for over 40 years. She has been the tax chair. She is known for being very tough, very smart, very fair. We have Senator Ann Rest on the program tonight, and we are going to be dipping deep into our archives. I'm going to reveal something. It's going to reveal something about my age, too, but I do something called the Races to Watch. Each year I pick about 10, 12 races that could determine control. Because right now, in our Minnesota State House of Representatives, in our closely divided politics here in Minnesota, we have a tie in our state house. And these closely divided chambers go way, way back. It's not the first time the House has been tied. It's been tied before. Our Senate was tied briefly in this last session. It's been tied before. So for years and years, decades, I've been tracking races to watch. Well, guess what? When Senator Ann Rust was in the House back in the 90s in New Hope, it used to be very competitive. She was one of our races to watch. So tonight on Almanac at the Capitol, you will see me door knocking, following Ann Rest, young state representative back in the 90s when New Hope was very competitive and she had to defend her votes for a stadium. You have to guess and tune in and see which stadium that is. And then, of course, if you know Senator Ann Rest, you may just see her wielding a gavel and some tough, strong words. She is known for her bipartisanship with how tough she is with the gavel, gaveling members of her own party and the opposite party, and just how tough she is and what a stickler in rules she is when she is tax chair and when she is sitting in at the president's desk in the Senate. And she went viral a little while back for how much of a stickler she is. The Senate's tougher on their rules than the House. The other thing we've noticed, and a big change we'll talk about and you'll see tonight on the show, is how much security has changed in light of the shooting of lawmakers here and just all the tensions, the extreme partisanship and tensions in our state, and obviously the shooting of citizens here in Minnesota during the ICE action, and just the toxicity in politics that the governor instituted through executive order weapons screening. So now at the Minnesota State Capitol, we've joined dozens of other capitals across the country, and there are weapons screenings. There's much fewer entrances here at the People's House. So when you come to the Capitol, no longer can you walk up the front steps to the Capitol and just come right in. You used to be able to just, walk right in. There is the entrance to the Minnesota House. You used to just be able to very quickly get in the building. Now you do have to go through the ground level if you're coming through the public entrance and go through our weapons screenings in the press, staff, everything. We all have to go through weapons screenings every day. And it does differ by chamber. So this is how it works in Minnesota. The state government, the Department of Administration, the governor controls the Capitol, but the House and Senate individually control their own chambers, and they have jurisdiction over their chambers. So the Senate, controlled by Democrats, are not allowing weapons in their chamber. So there is a separate weapons screening in the Senate. So right now, by state law, and many people learned after the shooting of Alex Preddy that we have open carry allowed in Minnesota, even though it's been often referred to as a concealed carry law. You can open carry in Minnesota, and if you have a permit, you can carry a gun into the Minnesota State Capitol with a permit, but you cannot do so into the Senate chamber and the public galleries. So there's a separate screening, and you cannot bring your permitted weapon into the Senate gallery. The House has a different proposal, and there's a different screening here. So a lot of changes on screening, a lot of new security, and just a very different tone different feel here, first day of session. We will talk about it extensively tonight on Almanac at the Capitol, first episode with session starting. We're here all session long, Wednesday nights, and we'll try and keep you updated on Substack. I'm also on Blue Sky Threads, launched a new podcast as well, Spin Sisters. So a lot of different opportunities to dive in deep on Minnesota politics and government. Thanks so much for everybody joining. I see lots of friends out there, Belois and Roberta, Sam, really appreciated folks tuning in here on Substack Live and our whole crew in the background. Should we give a little shout out? I see Terry's still here. Say, hey, Terry. There's Ben. Scott was just around the corner. We've got all kinds of crew. Hey, say hey. Thanks to all the good people at TPT for getting us on the air. We'll be live at 7 p.m. again on the Minnesota channel. If you don't see it live at 10 p.m. on TPT2, and then we'll link to it on all of our social media. So please tune in all season long on Almanac at the Capitol. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.